Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It was just Mother's Day. I just want to say happy Mother's Day to everybody, every mom who is celebrating. We're going to center on Mother's Day and take a look at it from a different side. And part of that is with Gestalt. We'll explain that if you're just tuning in and never heard that word before. And Kathy Slagter joins us, and she's somebody who works with Gestalt. All right, I'll tell you, it has something to do with horses. And it's been very beneficial for a lot of people, including moms. And Kathy, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always fun to chat with you.
You too. How was your Mother's Day?
It was really good. I'll have to say that I am a new grandma again. This is my third grandchild, but on Saturday, I have a new baby. So his name is Nash, and he's from a family of two other little children. And I watched them Thursday night, Friday night, and it was just a grandmama weekend for me. And to top it off, I just got a note today. I had sold a horse last year, about June, I think. And she just had her baby today. So I'm a horsey grandmama too.
Wow. You got a lot going on. Congratulations, Kathy.
Yeah, it's been a really fun, birthing weekend for me. And my mother lives in Florida, and she just came home. So I was able to spend Mother's Day with my mother too, which is always very grateful when she's been in Florida and I'm in Michigan, and having them travel up here and be here with me and her family, of course, all summer long. So yeah, really filled my heart this weekend.
So your mom's going to be there all summer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. And how does she, what does she think of the horses?
She doesn't live here with me. She lives on a lake that's close by, but she comes here with the horses. She's not quite as stable on her feet as she used to, but she loves them. She's, proud of where I was and where I am now today. My journey, it's something different. I didn't have horses when I was a child. So, she's getting used to this, having a farm girl as her daughter, which is totally different from what I was before. So,
wow. And she lives in Florida. So this is probably a whole different experience being where you are.
Yeah. Yep. Well, she lived here all her life. She's one of those that go down there in the winter time now and come back. So this is kind of her home, but she lives down there too.
Gotcha. Yeah. And Gestalt, explain for somebody that hasn't heard us before.
Yeah. Gestalt is a German word, and it means wholeness and awareness is kind of the easy way to kind of touch base as to what it actually is. So wholeness and awareness to me is having all these pieces of yourself and figuring out where they belong inside our bodies. So when I was drinking, I was numbing many pieces and parts of my past, and I had to be able to look at them, which is the awareness of it. Look at what it was doing to my body, to my mind, to my heart, things that disturbed me, things that might have happened to me, things that, the way you looked at situations that were a part of your life, all those things, your personality, all those things are a part of who you are. In the Gestalt world, as we do in recovery world, we live one day at a time. We live one moment at a time. And whether you're in recovery or not, you really should live one day at a time and get the most out of every single day. But Gestalt is really being aware of your days and your moments. And it's not focusing on all the blame and the shame and all that kind of stuff. But before you can not focus on all that, you have to look at it, and people don't like to look at it. So a lot of people drink it away or drug it away or whatever it is. So Gestalt is finding a way, in a gentle, kind way. And that's where the horses come in. The horses are this they live in a world of peace and serenity, which is where, again, I love to live. And I hope, I would think everybody else would. But they also can take our energy that's higher or lower, darker or lighter, whatever way you want to look at it. And they'll balance it out. They can feel as humans walking around, and they can tell by our energy that we're giving to them, that they're reading, and they'll work on us. They'll say, oh, here comes a human into the barn. Oh my goodness, they're really, really dark and sad and lonely. Something's going on with them. Let me work on them. Let me take their energy and kind of, whoosh it around and let it out into the air. And people leave the barn with just being with the horses, never mind the gestalt part, but just being with the horses. They feel lighter and brighter and, less heavy.
It really, it makes a difference in so many people's lives. And I knew that their horses were therapeutic, never to this degree. I only saw people riding them, and people maybe have challenges, and it's made a big difference in their lives. But for what it does in terms of recovery, I had no idea, like most people.
Yes. One of the experiences I can remember. So in order to be a coach, I was coached because my teacher, Melissa Pierce, believes that you need to let out, you can't sit next to or across from somebody and attempt to heal them if you're sick yourself. So we had to go through the process, and she was healing me. And one of the things, and I'll stay on Mother's Day, one of the things was that a lot of my children's lives, I was drunk. I did a lot of the things I was supposed to. I could even say I was kind of a functioning mother, but also a drunk mother. So I put drinking ahead of my children many, many times. I remember my daughter calling me and wanting me to come home. It was school tomorrow. It was 10 o'clock and she needed to be asleep, but she was worried about me. And my response wasn't, okay, I'll come home. I understand it was more of like, suck it up, girl. You're 12, 14 years old. It's time you sleep. Mama's coming home. Don't worry about it. I'll be there, but it'll be a while. So go to sleep. I didn't care. I wasn't there to she was worried about me. I had a 15, 16-year-old girl worried about whether her mama was going to make it home that night. She heard all the things about drunk driving and what drinking does to people. And here I didn't care, go to sleep. I'll be home in a while. Not even thinking about what she had to go through in order to be my daughter. And I remember, my son also was what I showed him. He drank. And, I kind of let a lot of that go because I was a drinker myself. So I was blind to how bad he was getting. And so when I was with her and I was doing Gestalt, which was a body release, it's a body release way of doing it. So I held a lot of shame and guilt and emotions of sadness and anger at myself, not even at my kids at what they did, but at myself for being blind, for not being present. In Gestalt, we go back in a very gentle way. And she asked me what it was like to hold my baby, we'll say my baby boy for the first time. And I got to go back to that feeling of it. And then I got to start talking about when I started drinking. When was drinking more important than my kids? Even though it's not, but it was. I don't know if that makes sense. I love my children with all my heart, but I chose drinking many, many times. So I got to go through my journey and this was in a group setting. So a person across from me got to listen to my story about my shame. And as we go through our stages of life, and we see ourselves and we're able to let it out, because so many times that's what drinking did, was numb it, and I drink it down and get rid of it and all that kind of stuff. So this allowed me to get it all out of my stomach, out of my gut, out of my body. I care when you carry that, you're heavy, you just got a lot to think about, and it's very draining. And as I was going through that, I was able to let it all out. And at the very end, this is a primal scream. They actually held on to me and allowed me to just scream and scream and scream out the anger to myself. And when it was over with, of course, I was exhausted. We can get exhausted about things like that, but wow, I was able to put it in a different compartment, put it in a box, or leave it in the arena, or whatever you want to say, and not carry it with my body anymore. And that's Gestalt. That is getting all that tightness out of us, and breathing.
It's so true. And even if it wasn't for, I don't minimize anything. Everybody goes through different situations, but yeah, your bucket of emotion is only so big. And after a while, it's going to start overflowing, whether you have an addiction, whether there was abuse involved, whether you just are going through stuff and you wish you were a better parent, better person.
Right.
And it's funny that you should say that, because I've heard that more and more. You have to verbalize it. If you're going to let it out, cry. If you want to yell, yell. It's okay. You need to.
Right. And that's why having a coach like myself to listen to you and not try to get you to a nice, my desire is to get you to a nice space, obviously, but so many people in their pain, they're trying to tell you, if you were telling me a story and you were in your pain, a lot of your friends and all that would kind of say, but, kind of let that go. And, come on, Steve, be happy. That was way back then. Don't worry about that. They don't want you to go into your heart. They don't want you to go into the painful parts of self. And that keeps us stuck.
It does. It does. And they don't mean it in a bad way. They want to see you happy.
I agree. Yeah.
They're doing whatever they can to press the happy button to get you back into happy.
Well, nobody wants to stand with somebody else in pain. It's really difficult, but I do. I love it because, and I have a horse that wants to help heal you. They want to feel you release your pain. And that's the beautiful part of a Gestalt, is releasing, all that keeps us unwhole. And that's the wholeness, is once it's released, you can be present, you can be in the moment, you can be happy. I've been posting things this week. I listened to something about sprinkling God. I think it was God sprinkling in your life, but I've used it like sprinkling happiness, sprinkling joy, sprinkling thankfulness, sprinkling blessings, sprinkle some of that stuff into yourself too, not always to other people, because it's easy for me to say, wow, you look really good today. You're doing great. I love the talk that you had. I really listened to that, but to say to myself, I really liked your podcast, Kathy, to myself, I don't say that very often. I don't, I say, oh, I stumbled on this word. I stumbled on that word. I wish I would have said that. I didn't do it this way. I look like I was, I was fat. I was, there's so many things that we can critique ourselves about, but I would never dream to say that to you. It wouldn't be anything that I would say out loud to somebody else. I would say, you did a great job, but it's hard for me to say that to myself. So,
but you're not alone. You're not.
I know.
Struggle with that. I could pick myself apart till, the end of time. I've let a lot of that go in terms of my journey. But at the same time, there are things there that I wish I did differently. Everything's a learning lesson. So I'm not gonna say, well, made a mistake. It is what it is, and that's what it is. But yeah, especially with kids, to your point, Kathy, could I have been a better dad? Yeah, I think I could. I hate to say that, but there's reasons, working hard, and could I give it more attention? All of that, there's the bucket.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It doesn't matter, just you don't have to be an alcoholic to have a life that you wish you could have changed. But the good thing is today we can do our best.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that the person that we weren't, my children could hold grudges with me. They don't, but they do hold trauma inside their bodies. I haven't really worked with them. I shouldn't work with my family members. I shouldn't work with somebody that's my lover or my best friend or anything like that. And it's up to them to find their help. But I know that some of my children hold some of the things that I did to them, the way I acted, and they hold tight to it sometimes. They let it go, they release it, but I'm sure they get triggered every once in a while with actions that maybe another parent has done, or maybe they say to themselves, I'm not going to be like my mom, those kind of things. And, I know with all my work that I've done, with all my gestalt and training and horses and talking with them, that I have done my part. I feel really good about what I've done to my part. Does that mean that every once in a while it might sneak in there? It might, but I also have done my work so I can help to let it go again. I can recognize it. I can be aware of it.
I wonder, and I just want to throw this out here, based on your kids and the trauma and things that they may hold inside. I wonder if you could actually work with them as you work with others because you're so close to it. I wonder, I feel that you could tell them everything that's in your heart, and I'm sure they're going to understand. You'll make them understand in terms of your sincerity about everything. But I don't know if you could actually work with them. I wonder. I don't know.
No, I don't think you should.
Yeah.
And I believe that if I worked with my children, I would want them I would have an expectation of what the end result should look like. And it should be that they love me and they're sorry and, they hold no resentments and all that kind of stuff. But they won't freely. So some of the thing is, I had conversations with each one of my children in a gestalt, in a safe space. They actually weren't there. I had conversations with them about how I hurt them, and I got it all out of me. And what that did is it was able to get it all out of me, and I could sit in their space and go, that's what it felt like to have a mom that drank. And when I did actually go to them, I had an expectation of how I wanted to present it to them, and not an expectation about how they would receive it. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I was able to have a conversation with them with a very clear mind about all the things that I am regretful about, shameful about, and put it in a nice little bow before I went to them, so that I was strong about it, so that I was confident about it, so that I was very direct I was ready for the conversation. And even in my session with my coach, I also was ready for them not to receive it.
I have a question. I don't know if I heard you clear, but I'm intrigued. Did you say that you had a conversation with them, but not with them? So as if you were talking to them, pretending that they were there, you see their face and kind of pouring it all out. Did I hear you right?
Yeah. So that's a connection that we can. So when we started, I would describe to my coach, as you might come in and say, you've mentioned that you're divorced. So here's your ex-wife. And we talk a little bit about her. And then you'd start to connect to her. And then you'd have a conversation with her about the things that you want to maybe apologize to her about. You're not ready to apologize to her in person. And some of the things she doesn't need to know that you're even holding, but yet you need to let it go.
You
So
need,
that's the conversation that you can have with her. So if in some time, and maybe you'll never have that conversation. I had a conversation with my ex-husband, but I never had not even close to the conversation with him that I had to this, to my connecting with him to what they call an empty chair. So
yeah, it's actually a good description. And to your point, they say you should forgive, and sometimes it's not easy, but maybe that's the way to do it within yourself. Are you going to actually have that conversation with that person? I'll be honest with you, at this point in my life, it's not about, well, it's not about me having that conversation and saying, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for this. It's got to come from the other side as well.
right.
However, it's so beneficial, I've always heard, even to talk to yourself, look in the mirror, but not think it. Physically talk to yourself. Maybe you don't want anybody around,
Right, right.
or even while you're driving in your car, have a conversation, because when the words come out, that's where the healing begins. You can't just think it, you have to say it.
And that is a lot of what my work is, and is you might stop yourself. Even if you're having this conversation with yourself, you might stop yourself when you start to get too dramatic to yourself. But I don't. I have you keep going on that. If you say something to me and I catch it that it's not, you didn't get it completely out, then we work on getting it out more. Maybe you even repeat what you said, like, I don't understand why I kept drinking. One of those things. And let's say it again, or Mom, I'm mad at you for drinking. Mom, I'm mad at you for drinking. And then all of a sudden you go, Mom, I'm mad at you for drinking, so it changes how you give it out. So if somebody else like myself was sitting opposite of you while you started talking to yourself, there's words and things and phrases and actions, and you could be pouncing your leg up and down, and there's a lot of energy in that. You could be moving your hands back and forth, and there's energy in that you're holding. There's things that I and the horses work on too, that we notice of you while you're processing your background of your life.
It's got to be for you, Kathy, watching people you work with, and even you being in that situation, a very emotional time.
Oh, it is. It's draining when I'm finished with a client. I work with them and I can feel with them, but I also have to work on myself when I'm done. I have to let my horses help me release my tension, or go for a walk, or do a breathing exercise, or, do a meditative, something that says, that's not my stuff. It's not even fair for me to hold that stuff. That's theirs. Let them hold it. Let them release it. Let them carry, their stuff, their life. I don't need to carry their life too.
Exactly. And sometimes I'm sure that's a hard thing. I mean, even people who are energy healers have to release the energy, people who do Reiki and chakra, which I recently tried. Whoa. That stuff is real. Don't think it's not. And if
Oh,
you
yes.
like
Yeah.
crazy, it's very beneficial, as is Gestalt. They're all, and you can do all of them, whatever it might be, whatever's going to work for you. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Reiki is all about there's heat in your body if you're holding energy in a certain spot. And that's kind of what, the horses can feel, that heat.
yeah.
So they'll go up to it and they'll do the Reiki on you. If that's the way you look at it, they'll Reiki you and allow that heat to be gone. And you're not laying on a bed and having somebody, go over you. They'll feel you. They'll smell you. Like I said before, when the horses are around each other, they go up and down the other horse's body to figure out where they need to itch. And I'm sure it has some type of heat or energy around it. And they know exactly where another horse needs a little attention.
I never even thought of that. And as you're saying it, I'm getting the visual of seeing two horses where one, might nudge needle the other one. And
Yeah.
how does that horse know where to go? Of Granted, if there's a fly on the horse's back and the horse is going like this,
Right.
that's not it. I mean, the horse could be,
They can get that off of their tail. They don't need another
yeah,
horse to do that, but they can't itch themselves in certain spots. They can itch a
yeah,
few spots, but
or genuinely have some pain. You know,
yeah,
they maybe,
yep.
just
You
a
know, I have a horse
horse.
that's about ready to birth and she's got a bad hip. And I see the other horses around her hip all the time. And I know that they're helping her to
Wow.
get that painful energy off of her. So, you know, they're miracle. They are born to be our healers. They are a positive thing that they can do is, you know, they're fun to ride, they're fun to drive, they're fun to, you know, they can do tricks and all these kind of fun things too, and fun for us. But I believe they were born to be healers for us humans that, you know, even dogs, you could probably say that for dogs too. You know, I've heard goats, I've heard people using cows. I mean, so many different things that animals are just, you know, were they made to be our best friends or were they made for us to find some healing? And goodness knows us humans need healing. Our minds can create such trauma and drama and chaos that the animals don't hold on to like we do.
It's so true. Yeah, you think about dogs. They like horses. They pick up on energy and they heal. They really do. They heal people without a doubt. It's remarkable how the animal world, well, we're all animals, really.
Right.
Right.
Yep. What are we, predators and they're prey, or they're prey and I'm predator? I forget which one's which, but you know, the hunter, which is us, I believe. So we're preys. No, we're predators. We're predators. We're the hunters. And they are prey. The horses are prey. They don't hunt other animals. They run from them, where we hunt. So
right. Well, let's hunt for answers and healing.
Yes, please. Text me, email me, Facebook me. My name is Kathy, Kathy, at one Neigh, Neigh, like horses, knicker and neigh, Kathy at oneneighataTime.com, or find me on Facebook, One Neigh at a Time. You can go to my website, www.oneneighataTime.com. So I'm all over the place. Come find me. Let's talk. First consultation is free. And, you know, you can come out to the barn and meet me here if you happen to be close to Michigan, or, you know, I have weekend retreats that are private for you or whoever else you'd like to bring along with you. Those are powerful to go a full weekend of healing for yourself. You know, let's get to the matter instead of chat about it for years. Let's get her done. And the old saying, get her done.
Get her done. When you think about it, we all know what we got to do. We all know.
Yeah, spend some time and money on yourself. You're worth it.
Yeah. And 3 words, go.
Yeah, let it go. Let's work on letting it go so your life is beautiful, and start sprinkling some love and kindness to your friends and family and yourself.
Where did I get those 3 words? On the website. If you see a picture of Kathy in one of the pens, the back of her shirt, I saw that. And I'm like, that makes sense.
Yep, all my sweatshirts have it on. All my t-shirts have it on.
Yeah. There's a way to let it go. Just do it.
And right. You know, you can't just let it go. You got to let it go properly. And Gestalt is a beautiful, beautiful way to do it.
One Neigh.
Yeah, one Neigh at a time.
Kathy, always great talking with you.
Thank you. You too. We'll see you next week, I hope.
I appreciate it. I'd like to say see you in the barn, but I'm wait for that, right?
Yeah, I'd like to see you in the barn too someday.
Yeah, I would love to. You know what? It's on my bucket list to
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, complete diversion. Love your bookcase, by the way. Every week I see it, I'm like, wow. Yeah.
Thank you. I got my horses everywhere.
Oh wow. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
Love it.
It's a prayer pony.
Well, you know what? As they say, drop the mic. That I got nothing else to say. Prayer pony.
Yeah. It's a pony that you can like pray on, and it'll support you in the times that my horses aren't around there for you.
Now, you know what? The horses support you, in many
Yes.
different ways. You could ride them, or they can ride your emotions. But
Yeah.
catch up next time. Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care.
You too. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.